Good day, everyone. We'll be discussing curriculum essentials, and we will start with the curriculum and the teacher, which is the lesson one. What is curriculum? What is its purpose? How does it affect students and teachers? The word curriculum has been in existence since about 1820 and comes from the Latin word curriere, which means to run or to run a course. That is, a course of study which contains a body of subject matter approved for teaching in schools. However, as time passed by, experts defined curriculum in different ways. By and large, the way we view curriculum reflects our approach to it. According to Ornstein and Hankins, we can specify five basic definitions of curriculum. So for this lesson, curriculum in schools, here are the desired learning outcomes. One, we have to discuss the different curricula that exist in the schools, enhance understanding of the role of the teacher as a curricularist, and analyze the significance of curriculum and curriculum development in the teacher's classroom. So, what is curriculum? First, curriculum can be defined as a plan for achieving goals. This position, popularized by Tyler and Taba, exemplifies a linear view of curriculum. The plan involves a sequence of steps. Today, most behavioral and some managerial systems, people agree with this definition. For example, J. Gallen Saylor defines curriculum as a plan for providing sets of learning opportunities for persons to be educated. David Pratt writes, curriculum is an organized set of formal education and our training intentions. John Walls and Joseph Bondi view curriculum as a four-step plan involving purpose, design, implementation, and assessment. The curriculum worker wants the plan's intent to be realized as fully as possible. Second, curriculum can be defined broadly as dealing with the learner's experiences. By this definition, almost anything planned in or outside of school is part of the curriculum. This definition is rooted in Dewey's definition of experience and education, and in Hollis Caswell and Doak Campbell's view curriculum as all the experiences children have under the guidance of teachers. Humanistic curricularists and elementary school curricularists subscribe to this definition, which textbook writers have interpreted more broadly over the years. Jean Shepherd and William Ragan state the curriculum consists of the ongoing experiences of children under the guidance of the school. It presents a special environment for helping children achieve self realization through active participation within the school. Elliot Eisner describes a curriculum as a program that a school offers to its students, a planned series of educational hurdles, and in a program that a school offers to its students, a planned series of hurdles and an entire range of experience a child has within the school. Colin Marsh and George Willis view curriculum as all the experiences in the classroom that are planned and enacted. However, they note a difference between the school plans and what the teacher enacts. So, meron siyang difference. Okay. According to a third definition, less popular than the first two, curriculum is a system for dealing with people. The system can be linear or non-linear. I think we'll be discussing linear now. So a linear system plots out the means to a desired end. Okay. So in contrast, a non-linear system permits the curriculum specialists to enter at various points of the model. So, mean to say, wala siyang particular ending, no? Skip parts, reverse order, and work on more than one component at a time. Many managerial and system curricularists adapt this definition. Fourth, curriculum can be defined as a field of study with its own foundations, knowledge domains, research, theory, principles, and specialists. Those who adapt this definition tend to discuss curriculum in a very theoretical manner rather than practical terms. They are concerned with broad historical, philosophical, or social issues. Academics often subscribe to this view of curriculum. For example, William Reid, we have Schobert, no, and then Tanners, if you're familiar. Finally, curriculum can be defined in terms of subject matter. Now, I'm referring to math, science, English, history, and so on. Or shall we say content? No? When we say content, the way we organize and assimilate information. We can also talk about subject matter or content in terms of grade levels. Now, of course, if we're going to look at the old curriculum, the previous curriculum na before itong K-12 curriculum, you would notice that there are specific subjects for a specific grade level. Okay? Okay, so people who adapt this definition emphasize the facts and concepts of particular subject areas. So yun yung sa binigay kong example. From the given definitions above, it is logical, no, to include that a curriculum has the following characteristics. It includes all the experiences of children for which the school is responsible. Number two, it has content. Number three, it is a system for dealing with people. Four, it is planned. Fifth, it is a series of courses to be taken by the student. So these are the definitions of curriculum. So you can actually say that these are the characteristics also of a curriculum. This particular lesson will explain to us the various meanings of a curriculum as presented by experts, by the different authors and experts. It attempts to let you see and think about the varying conceptions of the word curriculum by different scholars because the definition of curriculum is a little bit confusing because we have different authors, we have different scholars, we have different experts. They also have their own or their own specific, very specific definition of curriculum. Okay. But then again, if you are confused kung ano talaga yung definition of curriculum, you just have to go back to the characteristics of the curriculum for you to understand really what is curriculum. It allows you, therefore, to see the term curriculum is not difficult to define. It's a little bit confusing, but it's not difficult to define. But each scholar tend to look at the term from a certain angle. That is why I told you that in every scholar, in every perspective of a particular expert, they also have their own very specific definition of curriculum. An attempt has been made to present a holistic definition of curriculum at the end of the day. Curriculum then, no, if we're going to look at the historical background, no, or historical perspective of curriculum, curriculum then was seen as a tradition of organized knowledge taught in schools of the 19th century. I think it is very imperative, quite imperative to look at that when we are to learn something, we really have to arrange them properly. No? So we cannot understand algebraic expressions without knowing the basic arithmetic, for example. Okay, you cannot understand the grammatical structure without knowing the how to write a word, how to write a sentence, and so on. Okay, I think that's very basic. Two centuries later, the concept of a curriculum has broadened to include several modes of thoughts or experiences. That is why at the later part, as I've mentioned, that there are a lot of scholars and experts. They constructed their own definition of curriculum. No formal Okay, no formal, non-formal, or informal education exists without a curriculum. Yes, no? A very simple arrangement of subjects, a very simple arrangement of how you will teach the subject, that is actually curriculum. No, whatever it is, no, if it is formal education, if that is a non-formal education, if it is, for example, ALS, no, yung concept ng ALS, that is actually part of curriculum because meron siyang particular subjects, arrangement of subjects, and then meron din siyang ways on how to teach the subject. Therefore, that is part of what we call curriculum. Curriculum is classrooms will be empty with no curriculum. I think that is true, no? Teachers will have nothing to do, no? Kasi in our curriculum, doon nakasaad yung mga dapat nating gawin. Doon din nakasaad kung ano yung dapat nating ituro, no? So if there is no curriculum, so again, teachers will have nothing to do if there is no curriculum. Curriculum is at the heart of the teaching profession. I think that's true. No, we have to agree on that. Every teacher is guided by some sort of curriculum in the classroom and in schools. In our current Philippine educational system, different schools are established in different educational levels, which have corresponding recommended curricula. The educational levels are, of course, we have first basic education. So for basic education, this level includes kindergarten, we have grade 1 to grade 6 for elementary, and for secondary, we have grade 7 to grade 10. That is for the junior high school. Each of, sorry, so that is for the junior high school and grade 11 and 12 and for the senior high school. No? So each of the two levels has its specific recommended curriculum. The new basic education levels are provided, in the K to 12 enhanced curriculum of 2013 of the Department of Education. Well, later on we will know what is recommended curriculum. Next, number two, we have the technical vocational education. This is a post-secondary technical vocational educational and training taken care of by the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA. For the Tech Voc track in senior high school of DepEd and TESDA work in close coordination. So they, because we have track naman of the TVL, no, that is why there is a specific interaction with mutual interaction between DepEd and TESDA. No, of course, when it comes to the curriculum format or curriculum matters, that is based on the DepEd, and then of course the technicalities will be coming from TESDA also, and some part of the curriculum structure. The next part would be the higher education. This includes the baccalaureate or bachelor degrees and the graduate degrees, which is for master's and doctorate, which are under the regulation of the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED. Okay, so let's just do not forget that for basic education, that is in the power of the Department of Education. No, for the basic education, that is from kindergarten to senior high school. Technical vocational education, technically speaking, that is post-secondary training, education and training. But then again, because of the senior high school, having a tech voc track, there is a close coordination between DepEd and TESDA, in formulating and structuring the curriculum for the tech voc track. And then, of course, for the higher education, it is not in the hands of DepEd anymore, so it is in the Commission in Higher Education, or CHED. I hope that is clear. Okay, so let's try to look at now the different types of curricula in schools. So have you realized that in every classroom there are several types of curricula operating? So let's try to look at into each one. No? Meron tayong iba't ibang um, angles and perspectives of curriculum. That is why I told you kanina that the definition of curriculum, when you are to define it, it's not difficult not to define, but a little bit confusing when you are to really look at the term curriculum kasi nga ang dami niyang characteristics. Okay. So the definition stipulated suggests that there is a major difference between the planned curriculum and actualized curriculum. The term planned curriculum and actualized curriculum will be discussed along the way. Yet, even these distinctions are not sufficiently precise to encompass the several different types of curricula. So, Alan Glathorn described seven types of curriculum operating in the school. Let's try to look at the seven. No? The first one is what we call the ideal or recommended curriculum. The recommended curriculum is that which is recommended by scholars and professional organizations. It also encompasses the curriculum requirements of policy making groups, no? Sino itong mga policy making groups? Ito yung DepEd, CHED, DOST, TESDA, for example. It is a curriculum that stresses oughtness, no? Identifying the skills and concepts that ought to be emphasized, that ought to be taught according to the perceptions and value systems of the sources. Recommended curricula are typically formulated at a rather high level of generality. They are most often presented as policy recommendations. Please take note that these are often presented as policy recommendations. Lists of goals, suggested graduation requirements, now because this is recommended or ideal curriculum, and general recommendations about the content and sequence of a field of study, such as social sciences, we have physical sciences, we have biological sciences, and so on. Okay, so that is for the recommended curriculum. Next type is what we call the intended slash official slash written curriculum. The written curriculum is intended primarily to ensure that the educational goals of the system are being accomplished. It is a curriculum of control. Please take note of the phrase, it is a curriculum of control. Typically, the written curriculum is much more specific and comprehensive than the recommended curriculum, indicating a rationale that supports the curriculum, the general goals to be accomplished, the specific objectives to be mastered, the sequence in which those objectives should be studied. Please take note, they're very specific, no? Hindi ito nakasaad sa ating tinatawag na recommended, no? Curriculum. And the kinds of learning activities that should be used. If we're going to look at the second bullet, no, sa last part, you would notice that the structure of this curriculum is very specific in such a manner that it is actually emphasized by these parts, no, na kay gitawag nga general goals to be accomplished with specific objectives, most likely para siyang lesson plan. Kung sa college, mura po siyang syllabus, no, if we're going to look at deeper. Okay. Next is what else? Okay. Note, however, that Glathorn 1980 questioned such comprehensiveness and recommended that the written curriculum be delivered to teachers as a loose leaf notebook containing only a scope and sequence chart, a review of the research, a list of course objectives, and a brief list of materials to be used. So, mura gid siya, para talaga siyang syllabus, no? Para din siyang lesson plan, kumbaga. This simpler format, he believed, would make the written curriculum more likely to be used. The written curriculum is an important component of authentic literacy, the ability to read, write, and think effectively. Again, this is the intended curriculum slash official slash written curriculum. Next type of curriculum we have is what we call the taught curriculum. The taught curriculum is the delivered curriculum. So, yun yung deliver. Okay? A curriculum that an observer sees in action as the teacher teaches. No? The taught curriculum is that which the teacher actually deliver day by day. So yun talaga yung tinuturo, no? That is what we call the taught curriculum. Next is what we call the supported curriculum. The supported curriculum includes those resources that support the curriculum, and that is those are textbooks. Of course, you have software and other media. These are supported curriculum. Very, ano siya, no? Very literal if we're going to look at. Now, again, when we see supported curriculum, these are the resources that will support the curriculum. Next, we have is what we call the assessed curriculum. The assessed curriculum is that which appears in tests and performance measures. So, for example, we have state tests, we have the standardized tests, we have district tests, and teacher-made tests. So that is what we call assessed curriculum. Okay, I believe that is very clear, no? The next one we have is the learned curriculum, the bottom line curriculum. Okay, so the curriculum that students actually learn denotes all the changes in values, perceptions, and behavior that occur as a result of school experiences. So yung mga natutunan talaga or the bottom line or yung tinatawag natin the end product na gusto natin, no, right after we expose a particular student to this particular curriculum, we call it the curriculum. Okay, so the bottom line curriculum, no, the curriculum that students actually learn. Okay. I think the last one we have is what we call the entitlement curriculum. What the people or the general society believes learners should expect to learn in the education system for them to become good members of the society. So the entitlement, what do you call this? The entitlement curriculum, okay, is the expectation, kung baga, uh, ng society. What people or the general society believes learners should expect. Like for example, if you graduated in a very prestigious university, people would really expect something from you because you came from a prestigious university, and the label prestigious university comes from, of course, the structure of the whole curriculum. Okay, so nanggaling yan sa how the teacher will deliver the lesson and so on. So that is still curriculum. So that is what we call entitlement curriculum. Next we have is the null or censored curriculum. Various okay, various curriculum contents or topics that must not be taught to the students now. I think that is very clear now. That is null, null or censored. And then the other one we have is what we call the hidden curriculum. This is the unintended curriculum. We call it unintended curriculum. It defines what students learn from the physical environment, the policies, and the procedures of the school. Here is an example. So each week, teachers in an elementary school devote 250 minutes to reading and 50 minutes to art. Students learn this lesson. In this school, art is not considered very important. If we're going to look at again that the hidden curriculum is not actually really written, no, kung ano talaga yung dapat gawin, no? But this is actually learned through practices, no? For example, through the policies, through the physical environment. For example, every every Wednesday, walang no plastic day in every Wednesday. Okay? And then every Friday, parang recycle day, somewhat like that. If we're going to look at that, is beyond the learning is beyond the four corners of your classroom, but then again, they learn, and that is what we call the hidden curriculum, the unintended curriculum. So it's more on the practices, no, outside. Okay, so I hope the different types of curriculum is claro, no? So you just have to go back to it and let's try to look at the differences among them. So that is the end of your lesson one, and please expect that activity will be posted later. Will be posted, okay, later sometime. Okay. Next lesson is what we call the teacher as a curricularist. Okay, that is lesson two. So here are the desired learning outcome. Okay. Enhance understanding of the role of the teacher as a curricularist in the classroom and school. So what specific roles do teachers play as a curricularist? should they do these roles? Ito, exciting, knowing, facilitating, we have planning, we have frustrating, we also have growing, we also have here initiating, no? And then growing, another growing. Okay, we have building, we have rewarding, we also have evaluating, showing, innovating, broadening, we have believing, recommending, showing, and of course, copying. Okay. Are you aware that the teacher's role in school is very complex? No, alam niyo naman that hindi lang tayo isang guro, no, sa isang paaralan. We also do things beyond the scope of our job description. If you're going to really look into the deeper part of being a teacher, teachers do a series of interrelated actions about curriculum, instruction, assessment, evaluation, teaching, and learning. A classroom teacher is involved with curriculum continuously all day, but very seldom has a teacher been described as curricularist. Okay. So, because curricularists in the past are referred only to those who develop curriculum theories, no? Yun yung parang pagkaintindi natin. For those who develop, drafted, no, created curriculum, sila lang yung dapat tawagin nating curricularist or those people who are curriculum theories, no? But then again, um, it's very seldom for the teachers to be labeled as curricularist also. No? Well, in fact, no, sa na-mention ko, teachers do a series of interrelated actions in his or her everyday na actions, course of actions. No, we try to interact with the curriculum. We also ano pa, meron pa tayong gagawin when it comes to instruction for assessment, evaluation, and how to teach the subject, how to deal with the students. And that is actually part of what we call curriculum. If we're going to look at um, the characteristics and the different definitions of curriculum. Okay. So according to the study conducted by Sandra Hayes, 1991, the most influential curricularists in America include John Dewey, Ralph Tyler, Hilda Taba, and Franklin Bobbitt. You will learn more of them in the later part of our discussion. In this lesson, we will start using the word curricularist to describe a professional who is a curriculum specialist, not just, again, curriculum theories, not just those people, group of people who are drafting or creating curriculum, for example. Okay? A person who is involved in curriculum, knowing, writing, planning, implementing, evaluating, innovating, and initiating may be designated as curricularist. Okay? So a teacher's role is broader and inclusive of other functions, and so a teacher is a curricularist. So what does a teacher do to deserve the label curricularist? Let us try to look at the different roles of the teacher in the classroom and in the school. The classroom is the first place of curricular engagement. Of course, no, I think that's very obvious. The first school experience sets the tone to understand the meaning of schooling through the interactions of learners and teachers that will lead to learning. Hence, curriculum is the heart of schooling. Let us describe the teacher as a curricularist. The teacher, as a curricularist, knows the curriculum. Okay? So if we're going to label teacher as a curricularist, the teacher as a curricularist knows the curriculum. Learning begins with knowing. The teacher as a learner starts with knowing about the curriculum, the subject matter, or the content. And of course, as a teacher, one has to master what are included in the curriculum. It is acquiring academic knowledge, both formal with formal, that is for disciplines and logic, or informal, derived from experiences, vicarious and unintended. It is the mastery of the subject matter that is knower. So knows the curriculum. Mastery of the subject matter. Next is writes the curriculum. The teacher as a curricularist writes the curriculum. A classroom teacher takes record of knowledge, concepts, subject matter, or content. These needed to be written or preserved. The teacher writes books, modules, laboratory manuals, instructional guides, and reference materials in paper or electronic as a curriculum writer or reviewer. That is a writer, no? Writes the curriculum. Next is the teacher as a curricularist plans the curriculum. A good curriculum has to be planned, of course. No, there is a logical arrangement, coherence on the arrangement of a particular curriculum. The main reason, of course, to that is for us to be transmit or transfer knowledge in a very logical manner. Okay, so a good curriculum has to be planned. It is a role of the teacher to make a yearly, monthly, or daily plan of the curriculum. This will serve as a guide in the implementation of the curriculum. The teacher takes into consideration several factors in planning a curriculum. These factors include the learners, uh, the support material, time, subject matter or content, the desired outcomes, the context of the learners, among others. By doing this, the teacher becomes a curriculum planner. Okay. Next, the teacher as a curricularist initiates the curriculum. In cases the curriculum is recommended to the schools from DepEd, CHED, TESDA, UNESCO, UNICEF, or other educational agencies for improvement of quality education, the teacher is obliged to implement. Implementation of a new curriculum requires the open-mindedness of the teacher because kasi nga if there is a different there is a shift of curriculum from one to another. Of course, meron ding changes on the manner of how we present the curriculum. Okay, so like for example, there are a lot of problems encountered by the teachers implementing the K to 12 curriculum, no, and that is on the matter of the arrangement of the content or the subjects, and the full belief that the curriculum will enhance learning. And everyone would agree that the main reason why do we have to change our curriculum because we have to make sure that it could enhance learning. Okay, I think that's the bottom line or the bottom reason or the main reason why do we have to change our curriculum. There will be many constraints and difficulties in doing things first or leading. However, a transformative teacher will never hesitate to try something novel and relevant. Therefore, teacher as a curricularist initiates the curriculum. Next, the teacher as a curricularist innovates the curriculum. Creativity and innovation are hallmarks of an excellent teacher. A curriculum is always dynamic, hence it keeps on changing. It is always changing based on um, the necessity, no? Kailangan ba siya sa society or sa community. Okay. From the content strategies, ways of doing, blocks of time, ways of evaluating, kinds of students, and skills of teachers, one cannot find a single eternal curriculum that would perpetually fit. No? Hindi ka talaga, there's no such thing as perfect curriculum. No? The same as the phrase, there's no such thing as best strategy, best instructional material. Okay, the main or the perfect word for that is appropriate, no? Appropriateness of curriculum, no? Because we have to fit The curriculum nakadepende kung ano yung needs ng society again or the community. Okay. A good teacher, therefore, innovates the curriculum and thus becomes a curriculum innovator. Again, the teacher as a curricularist innovates the curriculum. Next, I think second to the last, the teacher as a curricularist implements the curriculum. The curriculum that remains recommended or written will never serve its purpose. Somebody has to implement it. No? As mentioned previously, at the heart of schooling is the curriculum. It is this role where the teacher becomes the curriculum implementer. An implementer gives life to the curriculum plan. No? Ang implementer, ito na yung mga guro natin. The teacher is at the height of an engagement with the learners with support materials in order to achieve the desired outcome. It is where teaching, guiding, facilitating skills of the teacher is expected to the highest level. It is here where teaching as a science and as an art will be observed. It is here where all the elements of the curriculum will come into play. The success of a recommended, well written, and planned curriculum depends on the implementation. The teacher, as a curricularist, implements the curriculum. The last one we have is the teacher, as a curricularist, evaluates the curriculum. How can one determine if the desired learning outcomes have been achieved? Is the curriculum working? Does it bring the desired result? What do outcomes reveal? Are the learners achieving? Are there some practices that should be modified? Should the curriculum be modified, terminated, or continued? These are some few questions that need the help of a curriculum evaluator, and that person is the teacher. So those are the the teacher as a curricularist role of the teacher. No? So the seven different roles are those which a responsible teacher does in the classroom every day. Doing these multifaceted work qualifies a teacher to be a curricularist. To be a teacher, it is to be a curricularist, even if a teacher may not equal the likes of John Dewey, Ralph Tyler, Hilda Taba, or Franklin Bobbitt. As a curricularist, a teacher will be knowing, writing, implementing, innovating, initiating, and evaluating the curriculum in the school and classrooms, just like the role models and advocates in curriculum and curriculum development who have shown the way. And that is the end of lesson 2. Thank you so much for listening. Keep safe, everyone.